cameras. If you want to turn on your cameras, it's really fun to see your faces. So that's very cool. And I know you know the rules with being such great teachers with Zoom, which is like, don't interrupt, don't bring your cat up on the table if you don't have to. I hope everyone has a drink.
I love seeing cats though.
Yeah. And so we're gonna do a quick visit with this amazing author illustrator tonight, first thing, because he's far away, and I'll tell you where in a moment. And then we'll cover some other business, and then we'll get started. So this guy was here last year to promote, this is gonna be backwards to you, I think. This is Small in the City. And his most beautiful book that he illustrated this year is called I Talk Like a River. This is Sydney Smith, and he's in Nova Scotia. And it's 10 o'clock there, which I forgot. I thought you were only 3 hours ahead. And this book won every single award it could win. Like, I don't think, it must be covered, Sid, with like stickers now.
It's pretty covered. So there's still a couple left. There's still a couple left that I'm in the running for, which I'm
good.
Yeah.
So everyone, please give a warm welcome to just this amazing person that I got the chance to meet last year. And he came to a couple schools here too, but this is Sydney Smith.
Hello.
Hello.
So Sid, can you talk a little bit about, well, I mean, the amazing timing of I Talk Like a River, the topic of it, the sensitivity of it, and then your ability to draw somebody in water is just amazing to me. So if you could talk a little bit about both your process, and if you want to read a little bit of the book, you can.
Yeah, do you want me to just go ahead and read it and
Sure.
then we can, yeah, I can try. This is going to be a bit clunky because I'm just using preview on my computer. Let's see.
He's also listening to Linda Ronstadt, you guys, just so you know.
Yeah, yeah, I turned that one down. Okay, let's see if this works. So, I'm not sure if I've got it right.
Yeah, it looks good. Title page.
Oh yeah, does it work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And these of course are not my words. These are words by Jordan Scott, and it's but he's not here right now, so I'm gonna be his voice. I wake up with the sound of words each morning all around me. P for the pine tree outside my bedroom window. C for the crow and its branches. M for the moon fading in the morning sky. I wake up each morning with the sounds of words all around me, and I can't say them all. The P in pine tree grows roots inside my mouth and tangles my tongue. The C is a crow that sticks in the back of my throat. The M in moon dusts my lips with a magic that makes me only mumble. I wake up in the morning with these word sounds stuck in my mouth. I stay quiet as a stone. I eat my oatmeal without a peep. I get ready for the day without a word. At school, I hide in the back of class. I hope I don't have to talk. When my teacher asks me a question, all my classmates turn and look. They don't see a pine tree sticking out from my lips instead of a tongue. They don't hear a crow caw, caw from inside my throat. They don't hide their eyes from the moonlight that shines from my open mouth. All they hear is how I don't talk like them. All they see is how strange my face looks, and that I can't hide how scared I am. My mouth isn't working. It's full of the words of the morning. Mornings are always hard, but this one's especially tough. I'm more stuck than ever. My teacher says we all have to talk about our favorite place in the world. Today is my turn, but my mouth just isn't working, and I want to go home. My dad picks me up from school. It's just a bad speech day, he says. Let's go somewhere quiet. My dad takes me to the river. We walk along the shore looking for colorful rocks and water bugs. It feels good to be quiet and alone with my dad, but I can't stop thinking about my bad speech day. All those eyes watching, my lips twist and twirl, all those mouths giggling and laughing. I feel a storm in my belly. My eyes fill with rain. My dad sees I am sad and pulls me close. He points to the river and says, "See how that water moves? That's how you speak." I look at the water, bubbling, whirling, churning, and crashing. Okay, so this is, I'm going to have to pause here. This is an awkward moment because in the bound printed version of this book, there is a gatefold. And so this white line down the center is actually the moment that you open up yeah. So Patty's holding it up right now, but that is the one. I'm going to have to see if I can share the other one. There it is. So it opens up to this. It says, "My dad says I talk like a river." And now I have to go back to the other one. Okay. This is what I like to remember to help stop myself from crying. I talk like a river, or from not wanting to speak at all. I talk like a river. When the words around me are hard to say, I think of the proud river, bubbling, churning, whirling, and crashing. And I also think of the calm river beyond the rapids, where the water is smooth and glistening. This is how my mouth moves. This is how I speak. Even the river stutters, like I do. I wake up in the morning with the sounds of words all around me. I go to school and tell the class about my favorite place in the world. I talk about the river. And I talk like a river. Patty, do you think I should read this?
I'll have the book in the store so they can read
Okay.
it themselves. I think that's asking a lot.
Yeah, I'll just say that this is very moving, beautiful epilogue or a note from Jordan that really, maybe it's best for the people to just read it on their own.
Yeah. But you did a nice job reading the book. It's an amazing book. And every time I hear it, it gives me a lump in my throat. It's so honest.
I haven't had the opportunity to hear Jordan read it, and I don't think he wants to. I mean, obviously, he's uncomfortable reading. Although he's a poet and he reads publicly his poetry, and a lot of his poems do deal with his stutter, which is quite pronounced. But I really do want to hear him read this book.
Yeah.
And I think it would just like destroy me to hear it from him. But one interesting thing is that I think
in his voice.
Yeah. And
I mean, I sent you after the convention here. I sent you the video, which I'm sure you'd already seen, of the young man who read his letter to Joe Biden.
Yeah, right.
Stuttered. And I thought, first of all, what an astoundingly good marketing campaign on your part to get him on the convention.
Right. Yeah.
But it was so moving because I've known a few people that have, pretty pronounced stutters and stammers, and it's such bravery to be able to get out there and do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And an interesting thing is that the publisher, like, with most books, they try to do an audio version of the book. And so they were asking me about that. And I'm pretty sure, I don't want to take credit for it, but I was like, you have to get Jordan. You can't get how can you get a professional
Absolutely.
actor or, a professional to read that in their trained, in the voice. I've always hated I don't hate the versions of my books, but I do feel like there's a lot of polish to it that doesn't necessarily serve the story. And with this one, you need only Jordan's voice.
True. And it would do a disservice to it to have it all smooth and.
Yeah. And so that's what they're doing. He's going to read it. And
Well,
it's going to be, it's going to be pretty amazing, I think.
that's really cool.
I don't know if that's ever been done before.
Probably not. And I wonder like what degree of comfort he has to not like have the recording engineer go back and edit or, say, oh, we can fix that, like let it go as it goes. And if he stammers or stutters while he's reading, to keep it in.
Right. It's such a beautiful concept. I love it. I can't wait to hear it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Sid that you can send them in and we can relate them, or you can turn on your mic if you really behave. Oh, come on, people. Well, I'll ask you one thing. Do you have a river near your house? Do you sit in, I know from following you on social that you have a lot of beautiful landscape, but you draw water like, it's just amazing to me.
Thank you. Well, I started, here, I'm just gonna step away for a second. I started working on water when I was doing this book here, which is set in Nova Scotia. And this book did quite well as well, and I'm very happy about that. But there's a similar spread. I kind of reused a bit of a a device, whatever, of just having shining, rippling water. And it worked so well with this book, and it works really well as this sort of cathartic moment of the character, this release, and then the act of opening up physically opening up his head and seeing inside.
Yeah.
You are opening up with a gatefold, which I've never had before. This is the first exciting. It was really exciting for me to have that for the first time, because it really made sense. I suggested it to my editor, and I had been shooting him ideas about, lots of different things, but he was always very, very strictly sticking to the budget and being like, if it's not necessary, we can't afford to go beyond that, or there's no point. Does it serve the story? And so at one point near the end of the production of this book, I had done a lot of work on it. It would have read fine without it, but I had just mentioned to him, what do you think about this idea? And I just was like, I know, and I did all the it's probably, it's this dumb idea. It's not even worth talking about. But then I was just like, it's a gatefold, and it's his head, and you look inside, and you see that feeling, his eyes are closed, and Neil was like, yeah, I don't know, do we need it? And I was like, yeah, you're right, never mind. But then 2 weeks later, I see him, and he's like, I can't get that gatefold out of my head. We have to do it. And I was like, oh, right, this is great. This is good.
You really landed with the right publisher for you.
I think so. I hope I'm right for him, but he's right for me for sure. No, did I cut out?
It's good. Somebody had asked, what were your other books? You have 2 others, right, that you illustrated? Is that right?
What? Which ones?
What are your other titles? So we've got Talk Like a River, Small in the City. And then can you give the title of that one you just talked about? And you have one other too, right?
That I've worked on?
Uh-huh.
I've got 15.
Well, ones that we would have down here.
Right. Okay. Sidewalk Flowers is the one. This one is one that I broke out with and did really well. It was the first time that I ever received a review, in ever. and I had done lots of books before, but it was all very much small publisher, small town here in Nova Scotia. And then I moved to Toronto, worked with a much wider reaching publisher, Groundwood Books, which is amazing, is an amazing Canadian publisher. And it was with Sidewalk Flowers, and it was just all of a sudden, it was like from 0 to 100. My head was spinning because I hadn't even received a review. And then all of a sudden I was getting like what I learned was good, like starred reviews. I didn't even know what starred reviews were. And then I was getting flown to New York to receive an award. And it was just like, it was maybe the best time of my life for sure.
That's pretty great. Well, and then all the awards that Small in the City got last year, you got flown around a bit for that as well, right? Or was that this year? God.
Yeah. What was it? I guess it was this year, because it would have been September. No, I guess it wasn't. No, it was fall in 2019. That's right. Yeah, I got flown around quite a bit for that. It was different though. It's different receiving attention for books when you're already recognized. Mm-hmm. Because it's when you're nobody and then you suddenly like you know the spotlight's on you. It's thrilling and it's validating, and you're just like you're on cloud nine. When you're already recognized and people are giving you their attention, it feels a little bit more. I don't know. It's more complicated, I think, and. It does. I do have to watch myself because it kind of messes with my mind a little bit. I started with because Small in the City was my first written and illustrated book. Now I have a second one that I'm working on. It's just I'm a mess with it. I can't figure it out. I'm all over the place.
And somebody has asked if Barbara Roddy says, "Did you always illustrate and write just in children's? And do you see yourself as more of an illustrator or an author?"
I'm an illustrator first. Yeah. I'm visual. I have a visual mind, and I've been doing it for a really long time. And with words, I just with pictures, I can look at something, I can see immediately. I can say I like this or I don't like this. With words, I can read it and just say I don't know. It's just a bunch of words.
Right. So
for me, it really like. The illustrations usually come first because they establish the atmosphere and the feeling of the book, and then I work in the words. And when the words do come in, it's very minimal. They leave a lot of room for this back and forth between the illustrations and the text.
And when you're given a manuscript to illustrate, then do you read it over and just do some spreads just really immediately you can see how you would illustrate them?
Sometimes, yeah. I try to listen to that when you're an illustrator and you get a manuscript, your first impulses are usually really, really, really good. So yeah, I'll throw down the sketches, some sketches when I first read a manuscript. But the thing about receiving a manuscript, because I like to work, I like the illustrations to work so much as the storyteller. Mm-hmm. Maybe because I'm an illustrator, but I just think it's a more interesting book that way. I am frustrated when I get manuscripts that are done, like the story's told. And there's not then the role for the illustrator for the illustrations is just to repeat.
Like they've already filled in everything that
there's nothing left to do. Yeah.
They've prescribed it for you.
Yeah.
Somebody has asked what medium you work in because we're at such a distance. Are they watercolors? Yeah,
mostly watercolors. With this book, I was able to experiment a little bit with, I don't know, as an artist, I know I do this, but artists, I feel like set up rules about like, I can only use this type of pen, I can only use this type of paper or whatever. And for so long, I was so strict to, I have to use I have to use a certain paper. I have to use these pens, and and there's nobody holding me to that at all. So with this book, it was like I was trying to break as many rules as I could for myself. Instead of using ink, I used no ink, and I started playing around with materials that don't normally go together. So you have like watercolor, but then I would throw in like gum Arabic, kind of just to thicken it up. I don't know. There would be some like modeling paste in there. There was like dry pigments that I would just sprinkle in. It's kind of like a recipe, but it worked. It's like some of it really, really worked. Like I really wanted the parts that are in his mind when he's swimming in the water to be very loose and very, very kind of fluid. Obviously, because it's about water, but yeah. I don't know.
It's such a fine book. I have one more question, then we're going to let you go say goodnight to your kids who are long since asleep.
Oh, well, they've been asleep for hours.
I know. I made that mistake earlier. I forgot how far ahead you are. Lori Prothero is the librarian. We went to her school. You stood on your hands at Sonoma Day, and she has written in and asked. She says,
Oh no, sorry. I'm gonna have to get you to repeat that. I'm frozen.
"Yeah,
Could
sorry."
be the tropical storm.
That's it. Your page layouts are in. It looks like your page layouts are influenced by a graphic novel form. Did you ever?
Hey,
okay.
Patty, your audio is a little bit wonky.
Okay, you want to read the question, Jamie?
Oh, is it not just me? Sorry.
No. I'm hearing it as well. I'm wondering if you're close enough to the Wi-Fi.
Okay, I think I understand the question. The question is, my layouts look like they're influenced by graphic novel form. Did you start out drawing?
Yes, exactly.
The answer to that is, I've always read comics. I've loved comics since I was a kid, and graphic novels when I was older, and now I'm getting back into like my kids loving comics, so I'm reading them quite a bit to him as well. But what really convinced me that panels work so well for me was when I was working on Sidewalk Flowers. It's a wordless book, so if you wanted to describe any sort of action, you really had to use sequential paneling. Otherwise, you'd be stuck with like, I don't know, full page or 2-page spreads just fill up the book too quickly. So if you want to like pick up the pace, you want to describe an action really quick, then you go to panels, and it works. I mean, I feel like mostly everybody has the literacy the visual literacy to follow along with the paneling, and yeah, I like it. And it also just really like it mixes things up. So visually, as you turn the page, you can go from something that's a full page image, and then the next one you can go to something that's broken up a little bit more. It just adds to a little bit more variety, which serves the pacing of the book. So people don't get bored. When they're looking at it, they're not flipping the page, seeing the same type of image over and over. They're seeing something more exciting and something more challenging. And also another thing, sorry, I get to ramble, especially if I'm drinking scotch, sorry. I'm so fascinated with film history and film and the language of film, and there's so much that can transfer from film to picture books. So like the different way that films use different shot language can be you can use that with picture books so easily, and I do all the time.
I love that. Well, I'm going to, because we have other books to talk about, but probably none as special as yours, I'm going to release you from your bonds and let you go on to your, I just checked, it's 55 degrees and raining, at least in Nova Scotia in general.
What's that in Celsius?
Oh, I don't know, Sid. What is it in Celsius?
I don't know.
28 is 82. I don't know. It's pretty, it's not that cold, but
10 or something like that.
but we have Sid's books here at the store, and when you guys shop next week, I hope you'll take a look at this one because it's very moving. It's very lovely, and I think a lot of kids would get a lot out of it. So, Sydney, thank you very much. I'm going to send you the information on my favorite Linda Ronstadt album because Grace is kind of cheating. So.
Okay, great. I've got some songs for you too.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, it's good to see your face and chat with you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. So one of the things we need to do, now there's no more customers in the store. Cheers, everybody. If you have a cocktail, please drink. I had to hide it from kids in the kids section. It was scary. So a couple of things you probably already know. You can message if you have questions, if you're having trouble. I'm on Wi-Fi here in the store, but it's pretty solid. I was getting interference right when that was all happening, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me. We have 2 shopping nights next week. I hope you've signed up. Monday night and Wednesday night. Tuesday night is my husband's birthday, so can't do it then. They're from 6 to 8 p.m. We will honor your teacher discount store-wide. We'll give you some extra discounts on the books that we're featuring, and it'll be a lot of fun. We just have to keep an eye on our capacity with COVID restrictions and all that. We will be sharing some information on book fairs. We're back in business doing book fairs, and Janie is going to send a PDF to you guys from Tiffany, who's head of our book fairs. And it sounds like they've really gotten a good handle on how to make it work for schools. So that will be being sent to you as an attachment. And plus I'll have it here in the store and I'll email it out to everybody. We are still doing author visits in schools. We did our first ones last week at Cherry Valley. It was the first time we tackled it and it worked quite well. In that case, we zoomed into 3 different classes, 3 different events. We could have done more. So I have authors who want to do school visits. What I need from you is to know what works for you. So I'm going to send out some basic information, but everyone's situation is so different. You may only have 1 day a week where you could do only 1 class, or you might be able to do half the school. So I'm going to be looking to you guys to let me know what could work for you, and I will try and find authors that can work. It was actually really fun, and I've talked to some of the kids who were in the event. They're like, yeah, I wasn't very excited, and then it was great, and they just felt like they really got something special out of it. We made it so parents could buy the books. We were able to get the books signed. So yeah, I hope we can do it. I think it's a nice break for you guys. It's nice to have something that feels quasi-normal in these crazy times. And yeah, so I'm going to start going through a few of the books I have for you. We'll have all of these in the store for you to look at. And I'm going to go in just random order like I usually do.
Did you send us the list?
I didn't send you the list because earlier this afternoon, our Zoom crashed and we almost didn't have this event. And so my focus was pulled from putting the list together, but I will send a list. So it'll be after the fact, but right now you have to take notes, Michelle. You have to use pen and paper, pay attention. They'll all be here. This beautiful book is called Slow Down, which just chills me out just when I see it. And it says 50 mindful moments in nature. And it talks about, it says, what is life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass where squirrels hide their nets in grass. No time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes begin. A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. And then it takes these unique moments in nature that are very simple, like a bee pollinating a flower, or
The text is calling. I'm like, I know you're worried about the teachers, so I have the school nurse checking. Public health,
dew on the
about
leaf.
everything that's going on, and public health quote was, there's no school exposure.
Hey, Emily, can you
Doesn't
mute
disclose.
your mute? Okay? Thank you.
I got it.
Yeah, and I'm just like a teacher, right? It just talks about all these moments in nature, both what's happening and also the beauty and value in seeing them. This is spider webs. And it seems like something you could do as an assignment for kids. You could do as something to read each morning for them to think about. But there's something about this book that really does grab the need to be present and mindful, particularly now. So this is called Slow Down by Rachel Williams. And it's really pretty. All right, we're going to jump around a little bit. This is a pair of books that I have liked all year. And you know, it's very odd being closed for 3 months. There are a lot of things that came out that got no attention that should have. So some of these have been on the shelf for a little while, but I figure that it doesn't even count. Anyway, this is called The Hike. Yeah. These are 3 girls who are going hiking in woods that feel like ours. And they do not forget, one of them brings a journal, one of them brings a backpack, one of them brings a map. And they start out, it says, we're going on a hike. It's Wren, Al, and Hattie, and Bean, the dog. And everything is labeled with what you're seeing, whether it's a stellar jay or snowberry or thimbleberry. And all the things that you would see if you hiked on Mount Tam or if you hiked, you know, in the hills here. And I do love it. It says in the beginning, we run like maniacs, which is every kid I've ever taken hiking. And it's just this lovely explore. It makes me happy, and it's something you could do. It would get kids excited about going hiking. It is the experience of just being out in the woods, and there's nothing pressing. Although they do finally make it to the top of the hill.
Patty, can you say that author again?
Yeah, I didn't actually say it. I'm sorry. It's
Okay.
Alison Farrell, and it's called The Hike. There's another book out currently called The Hike. It's fine, but this one's special. I really like it. But paired with it, this book's amazing. Has anyone seen The Keeper of Wild Words? So this, I at first thought might be an aging story. It's about a grandmother who takes her granddaughter out also on a hike one day. And she has a list of words that she's kept. And Mimi was a writer. She wove words into everything. But this day, she says, I'm afraid some of my favorite words are disappearing. And so they go out to try and find these words. And they're looking for things like a wren or acorn. She has a whole list. Dandelion, fern, minnow, starling, violet, you know, words that we know. And I thought, well, maybe this is an aging tale. You know, maybe she's beginning to fail and these are things that are important. So she and her granddaughter spend the whole day together finding all these things, poppies, and making, they have a whole, they collect them and they go through their day and they're very successful and they have just the best time. So I thought, well, that's a nice story. But then a brook, by the way, a brook, like a stream. It turns out that these words are words, this is the author's note. This book was inspired by an article I read that astounded me. The Oxford Junior Dictionary removed over 100 natural words from its pages. They no longer felt these words were relevant for today's children. They were replaced by words such as analog, chat room, database, voicemail, drought. And so she wrote this for that reason. So kids will know what these things are. And it even has an envelope in the back to collect your wild words so you can make sure that even though if they get taken out of our dictionaries, they still are valued by us. So anyway, I love this book. Like, I think everyone should have it and everyone should go out and collect the wild things that are important to them. So that is The Keeper of Wild Words by Brooke Smith. All right. this, how many of you have kids that are always still reading graphic novels? I have a whole graphic novel section for you. This is called Bear. You can see it. It's a big-sized graphic. It's by Ben Queen. Feels so weird, you guys. There's nobody in the store but me. That never happens. It's like I'm talking and it's this empty store. It's about a guide dog, a companion dog. And they make a point to say he's not a guide dog for the blind, but that is his job. And it follows his story and how he goes along and learns to be a guide dog and meets his people and does such a great job. And then eventually one day he gets frightened by something and he overreacts. And then he feels very guilty. And so he's not sure he's doing a good enough job. So he leaves with a couple of raccoons who convince him that he probably should go elsewhere. And it's just this whole story of Bear, this just really good dog who's trying to do all the right things and then ultimately get back to his family. But I thought for all the kids that are really enjoying graphic novels, but maybe haven't read a long one or one that's got more story and more content to it, it's really thoughtful and really sweet. And the first day it came in, I showed it to a dad whose kid was careening all over the kids section, and he sat her down and she looked at it, and it turned out she was actually on the list to get a companion dog, a guide dog. And I didn't realize she was careening around partly because she was so happy to have space she could move in because she doesn't see well. And during COVID time, she wasn't able to go anywhere. She was fascinated by this. And it was really it was just a nice moment that she found a book that spoke to her. So that is Bear by Ben Queen. These came out last year. This one came out last year called Sleuth and Solve. It probably would be for 3rd grade on it, but they're logic puzzles.
My kids love it. I keep it out and they grab it all the time to just
check it out. Book 2. It's called Sleuth and Solve History. Same format, same kind of crazy. I mean, kids go for this book. Like it is just, they're logic puzzles that even for me, and I'm not in 3rd grade, sometimes I'm like, oh, I totally missed the point. And the kids are like, all the flags upside down, or they always they see it and get it and are so happy to be able to exchange it. So basically, or explain it. It basically lays out the scenario and all these things that you're wondering about it. And then if you really can't figure it out, it tells you what the solution was. But they're very smart. So yeah, Alice, this just came out last week. So they're both called Sleuth and Solve by Victor Escandel. And again, when you guys come into shop, we'll have these all on tables. And if you're not comfortable coming into shop, I will send out the list and you can order them over the phone. Like, I totally get it. What's our time here? So this came out while we were closed. This is called Odin, Dog Hero of the Fires. And it's written by Emma Smith. And it's about one of the dogs in the first fires, the 2017 fires. How a dog, as everybody left and evacuated the fires on his ranch, they could not get him to get in the car because he wouldn't leave his herd of goats. And it follows his story as he stayed and got them higher and higher on the hills and protected them. And ultimately, they all survived, and it's a true story. So it's very sweet and very, he's a great Pyrenees. And it just is, with the fires that seem to constantly happen, it's nice to have a nice story to talk about instead of a frightening one. And so this is just about a very good and loyal dog named Odin. So that is by Emma Smith. We have, this hardly needs any notice. There is a new Dogman, Grime and Punishment. I heard a little kid in the store the other day. He said, Dad, what is Grime and Punishment? His dad's like, it's crime and punishment. You wouldn't be reading it. And I watched this whole exchange and finally was like, actually it is Grime and Punishment, and it's a kid's book. But this is the newest in the Dogman series. To his credit, Dave Pilkey and his wife have kept in touch with us probably every other week to see how Petaluma is doing because they love the town so much, and they're currently in Japan, and they've just been checking in, which is really sweet. but it's out, just so you know about it. This is a fun new graphic series that is by Beth Ferry. It's called Fox and Rabbit. There are 2 so far, and the kids have really liked them. And it's a buddy story. There are chapters, Fireworks, and Fred. This is the format. But I like them, and it's nice to have some content in the graphic novel world that is a little younger, has a little bit more story to it, isn't slapstick. You know, they're nicely done. So there are 2 so far, and I think your kids will like them. I think they're sweet. This came out today. We almost had Sophie Blackall join us, but she had other plans, like a release party. This is called If You Come to Earth. And this is by Sophie Blackall, who, you know, she illustrates, she's a Caldecott Award winner, and then she also illustrates Ivy and Bean. But it's basically a book written to a visitor from outer space. Like, if you come to Earth, here's what you need to know. You can find us near a big sun and a tiny moon and a bunch of other planets. Ours is the greeny blue one. The green and brown bits are hard. The blue stuff is water. And then it zooms in and it just talks about who we are, all the different ways we are, in a really positive way. It's not preachy, but it's just really fun. And it seems like you could have any kind of fun thing to do with kids, like have them write a letter to an alien. Like, what would they describe? Or say maybe they're describing Petaluma or their school. What things would be key to them to talk about to make somebody understand what it's like here? So she did a beautiful job. I think this will win all kinds of awards. If You Come to Earth by Sophie Blackall. I haven't knocked anything over yet, but I might still. This just came out also mid-pandemic, and it's called Mop Rides the Waves. Has anybody seen this book? Does this look familiar? It's really about dealing with adverse conditions, how you can get through, and they tie it into surfing, how you can get through something big and difficult when it feels overwhelming. And even though it's a simple message, I liked the way it really explained, well, surfing for one thing, but really just like, you know, stormy waves, stormy things are natural in our lives, and learning to deal with them is really one of the most important things you can do, because they will come and you just have to know how to navigate them. And I thought that was actually a pretty good message these days. So this is called Mop Rides the Waves of Life by Jaimal Yogis. So it's Jaimal. Last name is like plural, yogis. But it's mindfulness presented again in a way that's not too preachy, maybe a little preachy. This one has been really popular. Have you guys seen We Are the Water Protectors? Yeah, it is a great book. I know Mary Collins at Cherry Valley did a school-wide read, is that right? Yeah, it's beautiful. It's written by Native American about her tribe and her people's understanding of and concern for and protection of water, because water is life. And it's, I mean, first of all, it's stunning. It's beautiful. But also it talks about how they see it as their role to protect water, because that is all things. And how legend has it that a large black snake would come to destroy the water, and how they have to stand up and defeat this black snake. And they constantly say, we stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. And it will not be easy. Really scary looking snake guy here. But we fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, the winged ones and the crawling ones, the four-legged and the two-legged, the plants, the trees, the rivers and lakes, the earth. We are all related. Water has its own spirit. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. The black snake is in the fight for its life. It does, you can see over here, it's standing rock, but it's also all things. But it's just, again, we're raising, you guys are educating children who are aware of their responsibility of taking care of the earth and being good stewards. And so I think this just speaks to them in a lovely way. So this is We Are Water Protectors. It's by Carol Lindstrom, illustrated by Michaela Goen. It's beautiful. All right, we have to do some fun stuff. Where are we, 6:50? Okay, this is Gustavo, the Shy Ghost. It's beautiful. I have it in Spanish too. It's just a very fun, sweet book about a ghost. There he is. He's kind of shy. And what he likes to do, he likes to play the violin. He's secretly in love with Alma, the prettiest monster in town. It's just fun. And if you're looking for something, I mean, I don't have any idea what Halloween is going to look like or what Day of the Dead or any kind of actual things, but we do have a good selection of books, and this seemed like a fun one that could kind of tie in, at least give you something to read to those kids who are not going to get to go trick or treat, near as I can tell. I wanted to talk about Houndsley and Katina. I don't know if you guys, I mean, I know Katina is a school principal, but also Houndsley and Katina is a cat. And they're just such sweet stories for emergent readers. They're both paperback and hardcover, and just a smart friendship tale. There's chapters. And they have their, you know, it's very Frog and Toad and, you know, very buddy tale in a really great way. Oh gosh, reminds me of another one I was going to tell you about. So that's Houndsley and Katina. They've been around for a long time. That's James Howe, but there are some new ones. Houndsley and Katina at the library, and Houndsley and Katina and Cousin Wagster. It's a good name. In the world of funny, silly books, Real Pigeons. It's a whole new series. There's Real Pigeons Eat Danger, Real Pigeons Fight Crime, and Real Pigeons Nest Hard. These are all by Andrew McDonald. They're funny and, you know, kind of like Bad Guys, but longer. So there's a little bit more required from the kids to get further into a story, but in a good way. And they're cute and slapstick. And I think we've seen them start to really move. The third one just came out. This is the first one, Real Pigeons Fight Crime. But I think there's a great audience for them. And I think we would have fun with that. It's really hard when I'm the only one talking. It's so weird. Those of you who know the Babysitter's graphic novels, this is Babysitter's Little Sisters, which is, it's in this series by Ann M. Martin, this was the younger sisters group of books, but they've been selling really well. Kids are happy to see them. So, you know, your second graders could read these, the storylines are appropriate, and everyone's so into reading graphic novels these days that it gives them where the content is appropriate, but the book itself is still makes them feel cool. So the first two of these are out, and they've been quite a hit. This one, I know, so many graphics, sorry. This is called Investigators. It looks a lot like some of the other graphic novel series, but I do think Investigators is kind of clever. I do like their wordplay. They're fun and funny, and this author is coming, and I need to book him into a couple of schools. Well, coming via Zoom now. So if you're interested in having a school, you know, like a grade-wide visit with a very fun and funny graphic novel, email me, because I need to get him plugged in to a couple of schools in about 3 weeks. So I will be sending you guys information about that. Just checking all these little things. Okay, Catwad. Is anybody reading Catwad in their schools? Okay, very dumb and fun. I mean, they're just great. It's me too, it's me 3. But I knew I was going to do this. I was going to have you guys portable so I could run around because I just thought of another book I wanted to tell you about when I said a buddy book. This is just a beautiful, great frog and toad quality. This is called Skunk and Badger by Amy Timberlake, illustrated by our own John Clausen. And it's this really, it's a badger. He loves studying rocks. He loves having time to himself. And this skunk shows up to move in with him because apparently the badger's aunt said he could. And he just can't get over it. He's just like, the skunk's like, it's a standard odd couple relationship, but badger learns some really great things, and so does skunk. It's illustrated throughout, and it would be a great read aloud. There's color plates. There's sad and frustrating moments. There are funny moments. But if you, I don't know, are you guys doing read alouds? Like, you are? Okay, this would be great because everyone will recognize the style of the story, and it's really, it made me happy to read it. So there you go. This came in today, just in case you're interested in, the good night stories for rebel girls. These are 100 immigrant women who changed the world. So it might be good timing for that. And it goes over, there's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, or see if there's other people I know. I've got a lot to learn. Carmen Miranda, people that we forget that they're actually immigrants. They're just part of our story, but they came here from somewhere else and did amazing things. And this series has been so popular, the Rebel Girls series, that I think you'll have an audience for that as well. One more emergent reader, See the Cat, 3 Stories About a Dog by David LaRochelle. It's pretty funny. I like the format. Definitely for your early readers, but it's cute and it feels fresh and different. Because we've run out of Mo Willems books, he's not writing any more fun ones. So those are some of the books. I'm going to bring in another person to talk about, another couple books that I like. One of them I actually don't have in the store. I came in to pick it up to put it on my cart and it was already sold. So, but I'll have them by next week. So while we're waiting for them to join us.
Quick question, Patty. Someone's wondering if you have any book recommendations about RBG.
I'm so depressed.
I know.
Wait. We have several good ones. We have a whole display of them. And I don't even have a favorite. There's a graphic novel for slightly older kids. There are 3 different picture books. There are board books. The biggest question is we sold out of everything over the weekend. I'll have back in what I can, and then I'll put them on the display this week. There weren't any that I didn't like. I mean, I thought they were all great, and we went through them all.
I saw a really cute one on Epic.
Okay.
There is a really cute one on Epic, just so people know.
That's that one that Kim is holding up. We have, yeah, I mean, I'm literally picked over, but we're hoping that there was quite a run on books this weekend at the distributors too. So I don't know how much we'll be able to get, but yes, we have several that we like.
I'm seconding I Dissent.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said that.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta make that work for Ruth. I have my badge on. We made Ruth Ginsburg badges, so we've all been wearing them. So Jamie, will you ultimately be able to share out the attachment about book fairs?
So unfortunately, Zoom doesn't let us share attachments. I'm happy to, yeah, it's a bummer. I would have to copy and paste the whole thing in, but we can easily send it around.
I can email everybody.
Yeah, and just so
I
everyone
emailed
knows,
everyone at least.
Partially my bad with the list. We had a huge Zoom hiccup. So, this next time we will have the list ahead of time and I'll be sharing appropriately while she's speaking about the book.
It's not even a problem. Well, I can see that our lovely editor and one of my favorites, actually my favorite, has joined us. So I'd like to welcome Taylor Norman from Chronicle Books, who's here to talk about.
Hi, everybody. I'm talking about Rainboy, right?
Yes.
And What was the other one?
Unstoppable.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you didn't want me to talk about that. I can easily talk about that. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here. I really wish we were at the store right now. I have to say, having my mom on in the background reading books is like, you guys all enjoy it because it's very soothing, but it takes me back to my childhood like automatically. So it's an effective sound effect to have as I, go throughout my workday. So the first book I want to talk to you about, I actually have a copy of. It's called Rainboy, and it is not a typical book that I would work on. I am an editor at Chronicle Books in San Francisco, and I work on picture books and novels. And the picture books I normally work on tend to be, I like to say I'm either like a 35-year-old to 40-year-old sincere woman who lives alone, or I'm a 5-year-old boy. Based on my picture book taste, I can either go like really literary and sincere, or kind of more weird. But this book is kind of a mix. It is a really sincere book. But I do think it's important. It came to me actually in kind of an unusual way. This is the author's here. I'm going to share my screen actually, so you guys can see a bit of what it looks like. Okay. Can you guys see that? Okay, cool. So that's the full jacket wrap. The cover is obviously this first square. The way it came to me is there's all kinds of different ways editors get books, but in this case, Dylan, this is his first book, and he is a good friend of the illustrator Emily Hughes. She's the illustrator of Everything You Need for a Treehouse, Charlie and Mouse, Wild. She does a ton of books on her own, and she actually turned him on to me, and that doesn't always work very well. Sometimes illustrators pass their friends off and you're kind of like, oh boy, well, good luck to you. But Dylan had a really interesting art style, and he also had this amazing kind of concept for, like, as soon as you guys read it, you'll kind of understand why I responded to it, but it's both obvious and sort of novel at once. So I'm going to go through it. This book is about Rainboy, who is this cute little character. Once there was a Rainboy, and fell in love with that character from that piece right there. It's pretty winning. But Rainboy isn't the most popular kid at school. Rainboy, when he's around, everything tends to get wet. So he rains on the sandbox, he rains in the monkey bars, the soccer field, and when he's around, kids have to stay inside at recess, or they have to kind of huddle under the play structure. Sun Kid, on the other hand, she's a new kid. She's another story. She was new, and she was from somewhere on the other side of the planet. We can see that she's the star of every tea party. She's the star of the beach. When she's around, of course, it's sunny. And Sun Kid is a pretty sunny person, so she happens to invite Rainboy to his first ever sleepover party. He's never been invited to a party before, and he's super excited. But when he arrives, what happens is kind of what you would expect to happen. He gets the whole party wet, and pretty soon, this wasn't the surprise everyone had planned. Everyone's yelling, rain, rain, go away. And Sun Kid comes down. So stop yelling at him. She's so ashamed of her friends. So she retreats to her bedroom, and Rainboy, of course, runs home. He listens to them saying, rain, rain, go away. And at home, a storm begins to brew. And the storm, of course, is all of his gigantic emotions that he's feeling in this most embarrassing and kind of awful of situations. It's kind of like the nightmare of what happens when you go to a birthday party for the first time. Nobody knows where he is, and nobody knows where Sun Kid is either, because she's so kind of ashamed of the way her friends have behaved. And pretty soon, though, everybody's staying inside, and we can see that these kids, this is one of the kids, and he's kind of going from hating being inside to realizing, hey, you know what, this is kind of okay. Time is passing, and there's good things about being inside. He has time to think, he has time to read, time for flowers to bloom, and time to spend time together. And they sort of start to accept that the rain is a presence in the life of the world now. So as they come to grips with that, they start to embrace the rain, and they come out of their houses and they play in the puddles, and they get wet and they enjoy it, and they kind of like having the rain around. And pretty soon, Rainboy is getting tired of his sort of rage, and he storms a little bit less hard, and we can see that you know, the sunshine is starting to come through the rain a little bit. And Sun Kid is waking up to this too. So she looks out her window and she says, Rainboy, look. We can see them sharing this moment across windows. And he looks out and it says it was the first time Rainboy felt that people actually liked having him around. And we can see everyone loving the fact that he's in the world, that the world has been made wet by Rainboy's presence. And so he puffs up with pride. I love this image. I just think it's the most heartbreaking little picture of a kid like getting brave. And he steps out of his room. He decided it was time to be brave, and he makes friends with the kids out there. And Sun Kid comes out too. And of course, when they come out together, they make a rainbow. So the next time you're feeling down and your world is dark and gray, just look up. And so you can see it is a super sincere book. It is not for anyone looking for cynicism in the world, but it, I think, would actually be a really great classroom tool because it pretty explicitly talks about bullying and shows a kid who doesn't change himself. You know, he actually kind of, the most, you know, the traits of his that are most sort of make fun ofable, the things that make him most sort of unpopular are the things that he experiences most throughout the book, his raininess. And that's actually what makes the kids love him in the end, which is kind of nice. And I love also Sun Kid, I think, is a really great character representing, you know, kids' natural ability to be sort of inclusive, and especially when there's a new kid on the playground who doesn't have sort of the baggage of what the other kids represent, she gets to come in and sort of see what's beautiful and great about Rainboy and what makes him so special. So yeah, I think it's a really, really great book. The thing that I responded to most about it was Dylan's art, I think, is so, it's so unusual. It's like, I don't see anybody else working like this. And what he's able to do across the course of the book, I think, is really capture emotion so well. I love, like, this scene is so intense when they're so angry. You can feel like how small he's trying to get and how mad they are. You can actually kind of relate to every character in that scene. And then I love sort of the inverse of this scene when Sun Kid retreats to her room and is just like, everything sort of the opposite angle. We go from being really inwards to being really outwards because she kind of can't let anybody in. And I think that's what really was so powerful about this, is at every stage of the book, you really understand the emotion of what each character is feeling. So I have kind of high hopes for Dylan's career. He's incredibly charming. I'm going to stop screen sharing now. He's a very charming kid. He's based in, I shouldn't say kid, he's a young man. He's based in Canada. And I'm going to share a link to his website so you guys can see. He's very charming guy. And he's very active on Instagram. So if you guys want to follow him and like get a little sense of what he's like in person, you're welcome to. Oops, I just sent that privately. I'll send it to everybody. And there you go. Yeah, so that is Rainboy, and I hope you guys can use it as a tool. That is definitely what we hoped it would be great for. I think you probably know the kid who is Rainboy, you know the kid who's Sun Kid in all of your classes, and then you know the kids who maybe need to read this and learn a bit more about both of them.
Okay, there are a couple spreads in there that remind me of the McNear playground, even though I know you didn't illustrate it. It still looks like McNear.
Yes. Well, feel free to transpose the book to whatever setting you imagine. It could definitely be at McNear. It does have a very sort of like every school sensibility to it too. So thank you. I hope you guys like it. And actually, instead of Unstoppable, I'm going to turn the mic over to another partner in crime I have in this house.
Hi, everybody. Hi, I am Mac Barnett here, sheltering in place with my pod mate and wife, Taylor Norman. I'm getting her earbuds. Wow. All right, there we go. Hi, Patty. Hi, everybody. Sorry that took so long for me to get in here. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. Happy Ed Night. I've been to many of these, never like this. I'm loving everybody's real backgrounds, and is that a prison cell? All right, I like that one a lot too. So I was gonna show you just some stuff that came out since I was last up at Copperfield's for Ed Night, which I think was last year. I know that I've talked about Mac B Kid Spy before. That's my early chapter book series and my memoir, the story of when I was a child and a spy for the Queen of England. And so the 5th one of those came out, Mac B Kid Spy number 5, The Sound of Danger. This one is all about musical masterpieces. You can always look at the cover to kind of get a hint at what's going on in here. This is the Queen of England here, not very happy with me as usual. This is a mummy. As I said, these are nonfiction, my memoir. And then of course, right here, we have some musical items, a cassette tape and a violin. The Sound of Danger refers, this one is all about musical masterpieces. So Stradivarius violins and the New Kids on the Block. Those are the two great artifacts of music that we deal with in this. So this is my spy espionage thriller series. And then this is really important to me. I love talking to educators about this. This is a series, the Jack series, about a rabbit named Jack who always gets into trouble. These I really hope have a good home in classrooms, whether they be real or virtual. Most of the Jack books have come out during virtual classroom times, but I think that readers are such an important category. This is like the first time that kids, that we're asking them to read independently on their own. And we really need to not just make texts that are accessible to these earliest readers, but texts that are enjoyable, that show them all of the joys that books have to offer. So Jack, he besides getting into trouble all the time, he's always exploring different genres too. So this is, well, I'll show you this one first. This is Too Many Jacks. This is when he makes sort of like robot clones of himself, and it leads to a sort of post-apocalyptic situation where everybody is stuck inside for months. Who can relate? So yeah, here's our unfortunately, this is when I predicted the future with the Jack books. He hides with the lady and Rex in his shed. They read books. They play cards. They miss the sun. And then this right here, this is Jack at the Zoo. This is my favorite of all the Jack books. The genre of this one is identity theft, I guess. In this one, Jack has his identity stolen by a koala, and the koala is very good. Jack's always in trouble. This koala, he's sort of a kiss up, and the koala goes and lives with the lady. So you can see here it says, "This is not Jack. He has Jack's cap. He eats Jack's food and sleeps in Jack's bed. He watches TV with Jack's best friend. Jack, you are so good now," the lady says. Not Jack helps her bake cakes. Not Jack combs her hair. Not Jack takes lipstick out of her bag. "Oh no," says the lady. "No, not again. Jack, don't draw on my walls with that." Put on makeup. Then he puts the tube back. Very sweet, a little creepy, a little weird. Though this book, by the way, dedication page here, to Patty and Jeffrey.
Pretty nice, Mac. It's pretty cool.
One of those people maybe just talked.
It was me.
Only at Copperfield. Only at Copperfield. educator night can something like that happen.
Amazing. Hey, Mac, before you go any further, Kim Ribeiro is on this call, and her son was in your talk at Cherry Valley last week, and she was grilled incessantly on New Kids on the Block.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think that I'd have to uncover that part of my past with my 9-year-old, but thank you for that.
You're welcome, and I'm so sorry. It's wild. I hope to expose a new generation to New Kids on the Block, and seeing all the kids like pulling up YouTube videos and doing the dance moves it's been amazing. But I didn't know that there were so many New Kids fans still out there, the blockheads. Like this is a real thing, and luckily the blockheads seem happy with the book, because that seems like a group that you wouldn't want to upset.
You want them on your side for sure.
Yeah. There's an amazing. Well, this is embarrassing. I was going to show you this picture of the New Kids that was in here, but then my copy of this book has no words in it.
Hang on, I've got it.
I can go get mine.
Got
Oh, they're there.
Oh, there it is. There they all are. Donnie and the other one. Joe. I think there is a Joey, Joe and Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. And then you have one more new book. Is that, I mean, we have plenty of new books, but you have one you just did kind of announced today a little bit.
That's true. So I've been during COVID, starting March 15th, I have done, some of you may know, at first it was a daily read aloud that I was doing on my Instagram, where I was just reading a different one of my picture books out loud every day. Now we do it weekly, and they stay up for a week. They go up every Saturday. So feel free to use that. I know like using Instagram can sometimes be tricky, and both technologically and then sometimes permissions for school stuff. But please, if you want to share my read alouds, share them widely. There's a new one up there every week. But it's called Mac's Book Club Show, and then there's a theme song and a logo. Those were both done by my best friend Sean Harris, who also illustrated Her Right Foot. He's been up to Petaluma many times, and we've been friends since 1989. So when we were 8 years old, and we finally have made a book together. It's a picture book. It's this one right here, called A Polar Bear in the Snow. And yeah, it's coming out in October. We're doing a special book pre-order through Copperfield. So if you're in Mac's Book Club Show Book Club, and by me just telling you about it right now, you're all in the book club. So congratulations, whether you want to be or not, congratulations. You can pre-order. If you pre-order, you're gonna get this book. And Sean designed like a chenille and felt patch. And then there's also a poster and a letter from us, and everything will be signed. I'll read you a little bit of this too. The cool thing about this book is it's all cut paper, and it's mostly cut white paper. So he cut out white paper and laid it on top of white paper. So most of the lines, like this line that you see right here, is just a difference in texture and shadow when he photographed white paper. So it's sort of all the different colors he could find in white paper. And I'll read you the beginning of this here. So, a polar bear in the snow. There is a polar bear in the snow. Still asleep, he lifts his nose to sniff the air. And he awakens. There is a polar bear in the snow. Where is he going? Is he going to visit the seals? No. He is not hungry. Is he going to hunker in a cave? No. His fur protects him from the storm. Is he going to meet a man? No! There's a polar bear in the snow. Keep going. And that's where I'll stop. Cliffhanger, epic cliffhanger. Oh boy. Where's that polar bear going? Yeah.
And that one comes out on October 13th. So
October
you
13th.
guys, yeah.
You
So
can stew until then. Yeah.
it's a very good one. So Mac, I do appreciate you dropping by from the next room.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, well, we were texting earlier today, because as we're processing these orders for the polar bear, we're getting orders from all around the world. Like, we don't have Antarctica yet, but we have Germany and Denmark and South Korea and China, and everyone is ordering this book because there's such a huge appreciation for Mac and Sean and their book club book club.
That's so cool. That's so
know.
cool.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
And even the lady that ordered from Australia, Jessie,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, wrote right back, man, she's on it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. So I will let you go back to Henry the dog. I think Tay's going to talk
Yes.
one more quickly. And if
Oh.
it isn't clear to you guys, Taylor is my daughter and Mac is her husband and my son-in-law. So taking full advantage of their nice house. Yay.
Hi again, everybody. Okay, breaking news. I have two books actually to share with you really quick, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one came out in the spring and was a sad victim of COVID because it got great reviews, but no one was around to buy it. This is called Unstoppable, and it is written by Adam Rex and illustrated by Laura Park. Oh, you got one too, good. It's a great concept. So basically, Adam is one of the funniest writers currently working right now, and it's just great when he decides that he's gonna, you know, write a text, because he's just fantastic at thinking visually, so it's really great. So we start off with this crab who's about to get snuck up on by this cat. He clicks his claws and says, click, 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 and the cat runs off. Tries to catch this bird. The bird says, ah. And the two of them kind of go off and recover together. The crab says to himself, oh, if only I might escape this life of muddy scuttling and fly to soar happy and be free. And the bird says, oh man, are you kidding? Do I look carefree? I almost got eaten by a cat. And he goes, I just wish I could fly, that's all. And he says, well, I wish I could pinch that cat on the nose with these big snapping claws. They kind of look at each other. And then they team up. I can fly. I have claws. Crab bird, bird drab. And then they're off, pinching the cat on the nose. But then they keep going and they're like, you know what, seems like life is pretty great, but it could get even better. We could also swim. So they recruit a turtle to their cause. Pretty soon, they're an unstoppable trio. Birdra-birdle, crab-birdle-bird, crab turd. They pretty much figure they've reached the pinnacle of everything until, whoa, a bear comes along, tries to snap them. And the bird is kind of more of he's going to try a little bit harder. So they go back and they talk to the bear and say, hey man, kind of feel like you're just feeling a little bit left out of this great friendship we got going on. We have one option for you. You want to join us? So then you can guess what happens next. We get a bear on the team. Now we have Birdra-birdle bear, Crabber bird bear, Turbear Brad crab, Steve. And they keep going along. And you gotta think the book was raised for a new mall that's gonna be constructed, and all the animals in the forest are about to get kind of taken out by this mall that's gonna arrive. And the crow, of course, says, we can't stop at this. Like, we got to fix this. The crow says, I have an idea. And where do they go? The White House. And they whisk out the president. President gets there and says, I want to help you, but I can't. I don't make the laws. Congress makes the laws. So then what do? They go get a gigantic ball of everyone in Congress. And from there, we have their spokesperson says, stop. Congress is called to order. All in favor of making the lakefront a protected park for all the animals forever. And then there are 432 times that you can say aye, all in a row. 3 abstaining nays. And the ayes have it. They win. And then this is Adam's like amazing writing. People say if the night is clear and your heart is true, you can still see Congressa bird or birtle bear flying over this great land, passing laws and pinching the noses that need to be pinched. Our national bird is an eagle because it's easier to draw. Good night, children. So that is a great lesson in teamwork and civics from Adam Rex and Laura Park. And then actually a book that is coming out October 6th. This isn't even out yet, and I just got it delivered to me today. So this is actually really perfect timing, that Adam wrote and illustrated. It's called On Account of the Gum. And it's this amazing epic story kind of along the lines of there was a house that Jack built, or the old lady that swallowed the fly. It's cumulative, but it's in a way that only Adam could kind of get away with. So it begins on the end papers when we see this girl has, as so many of us do, fallen asleep with gum falling out of her mouth and woken up with it, unfortunately stuck to the top of her head. And the cat can see what's going on, but she can't really see. And we begin. That's the gum right there that you've got in your hair. On account of the gum that you got in your hair, your dad said, sit still, and your sister said, duck. And you sat very still. Still, the scissors got stuck in the gum that got stuck in your hair. So we now have scissors on top of gum. And as we keep going, we add more and more things. We try to butter to get the scissors out. Your grandpa has a great idea. Your grandpa, who said that your aunt was mistaken, is mostly to blame for the noodles and bacon. It's all in this bacony, noodly mass with the scissors, gum, hair, sticks of butter, and grass. Your rabbit eats grass. So the rabbit gets up there. And then to get the rabbit out, we bring in the cat. The cat gets stuck in there too. So we say, oh, I know what to do. It's a little bit mean, but the cat always gets really scared when I clean. Just watch, she'll run off and hide under the bed if the vacuum comes anywhere close to your head. As you might imagine, the vacuum cleaner gets stuck up there too. Wait, no, I'm thinking of the old cat. Your aunt comes back. She wants to try cake, but the cake that she made wound up on the floor. Oh yeah, happy birthday. And then we go really crazy. All right, let's get serious. This is the plan. We blow the gum out with a powerful fan. Plus, every few seconds, we'll pop a balloon, and the guy with the bees said he'll get them here soon. And oh, I hear sirens. The firemen came. They complained when we called, but they came just the same. With their hoses and one of those dogs and a cop and a big pot of chili, they're ready to... Stop! Finally, we hear the girl speak. She says, get out, please. And this is like the most Adam Rex twist of all. Everybody leaves. So everybody being like, wow, all right. And the last thing to hop out, the gum. Geez, he says, rude. So that's the solution. She's watching everything go, but she still has a lot of stuff in her hair. Well, what do you know? Too bad about all of the rest of it, though. The rest of the stuff that's still stuck in your hair. Whoops, now your aunt is all stuck up in there. How'd that happen? Anyway, you better get to school. Because otherwise, you're going to miss picture day. This expression on her face is so great. If we go right there. On account of the gum. Pretty good school picture day book. And then at the end, we get the outtakes pictures on the end papers of all of her wallet-sized, sad school pictures. So those are the two Adam Rex books. I feel like actually this one I think is really great for talking for beginning readers who are like a little bit kind of ready to be breaking out of picture books and reading them on their own. Because if you noticed, as we combine all the animal names, the types of animals are keyed with their color to the type of type they are. So that you can see the crab is orange, the turtle is green, and the bird is black, and that continues throughout. So it's actually a really helpful kind of read aloud book. And we were careful about that because we didn't want to do speech bubbles. It was just too much kind of imposition of art. And we wanted to make sure it was clear who was talking with every line. So yeah, those are the two books. And thank you guys so much for letting me take up so much time and spending the time here tonight. It is so good to see you all. You guys are doing amazing work. Every time I think about teachers during all of this, I get stressed myself. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and I know that this is like an incredibly hard time. Everything you guys are doing is just like, you are the hope of our entire nation. So thank you seriously for everything that you're doing.
And Taylor, thank you so much. Thank you, sweetie.
Of course. Such an honor. Thanks, everybody.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
So you guys, I put this entire evening together so I could see my daughter from a distance. It's true confession. That's what I have for you tonight. I know we went kind of fast over things, but I will have everything here and you'll have my undivided attention on the shopping nights. I will email you a list. I'll also email you the information about the book fairs. Does anybody have any questions before we sign off? We're a minute over, but totally fine. I have
a question.
Yeah, hey Carly.
If I don't make it to the shopping night, can I just come in this weekend? Will the books be there?
They won't all be here, but you can. Yeah, email me and I'll let them know that you're coming in. Actually, I'll be here on Saturday if you come in on Saturday.
Okay.
You can do it, but we're trying to really keep some distance, and that's why we set up this teacher shopping night.
I see. So all the teachers don't come in during business hours.
Exactly, because we can only have 25 people in the store at a time.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Betty. Thank you all so much. It's really good to see your faces, and I'll see some of you tomorrow night.
Hey, Patty, I have a quick question, sort of an idea. I know that the authors and illustrators get these beautiful sort of digital copies of the books to put out when they're doing things like tonight, presenting like they did on Zoom. Is there any chance publishers are going to do that for teachers now that we're all doing read-alouds via Zoom? Like, I would love to purchase, and I would pay what I would pay for a hardcover, a new hardcover.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Let me ask. That's a good question, because I know they get really wonky about copyright laws. Like even Mac can't put his own books up without getting in some hot water for it, and he has to take them back down. So, but let me ask if there were a way to purchase a digital copy. That's a really great idea, and I'll find out. Thank you. Anybody else? I see all your faces. It's so good to see you. All right, well, we're back at it tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. We're gonna have some fun stuff. So if you weren't planning to come and you want to join us, feel free. Email me directly with questions if I didn't address anything. And thank you for being so patient with all of our gyrations today with our crashing Zoom. We did it.
We're used to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Patty.
Thanks, you guys. Good night.
Patty.